All right. I decided to make a tier list for killers before Chucky, because I know that when Chucky came out, apparently developers buffed Trapper and they also buffed Trickster. But this tier list is specifically before Chucky, so all killers up to Xenomorph. I will be talking about them and ranking them. Okay, a couple of rules. Some killers I'm not sure where to place them, and I will talk about them when I get to them. For example, Hack, so I will get to her. Also, different killers, some of them might be in the same tier, but they have different sub-tiers, okay? Let's call them that way. They have different sub-tiers. So, for example, one killer can be in high A tier, and another killer can be in mid A tier, and then other killer can be in low A tier, and the same idea applies to all other tiers. So keep that in mind. But again, I will talk about all of it. So yeah, let's talk about the most powerful killer in the game. The only killer of that level is Nurse. So Nurse is the only S tier killer in the game. To make it easier for everyone. Here's the thing. I don't know if I would put her in high S tier or mid S tier or low S tier. Also, one more thing. There won't be any... Man, I forgot. Okay, maybe I'll remember later. So yeah, I don't know where I would put her, because I don't have a better reference point. As I said, she is the only... To make it easier, Nurse should be the only S tier killer in the game, because we need a good reference point. So she will be our reference point. I know a lot of people put Blight in S tier as well, which isn't fair, I think, because Nurse can do what no other killer can. She ignores terrain completely. Okay, Blight runs around the terrain essentially. But he is not as powerful. He still... Blight can be looped. That's the thing. Blight can still be looped. So putting him in S tier isn't really fair. Now, maybe in the past you could say, well, okay, maybe he is S tier. Yeah, I remember what I wanted to say. All of these killers, okay, I will rank them without add-ons and perks. Okay, so basically, I will rank all killers, based on their, base kit power level. So no add-ons and no perks, because if I add add-ons and perks into the equation, I will get it will take forever to rank all of these killers, and I'm not going to do all of it. So it's just base kit killers, okay? So yeah, Blight used to be really strong back in the day when basically in the past players would exploit. They would use exploits when they were playing Blight. For example, Blight could slide across objects, okay? If objects are, smooth enough, he could glide across those objects. Which is obviously not intended way, okay? It is unintended way to play. So developers fixed it. So maybe you could say at some point Blight could be S tier, more or less. But even then, I don't really consider him S tier. But even then, you could say maybe he was close to S tier. But nowadays, especially, he is not S tier. He is not. I don't even know what to say about Nurse. I mean, she ignores terrain. You know, it's really she doesn't care about walls. She doesn't care about pellets. She doesn't care about windows. And really, if it's top Nurse, and I've played against top Nurses before, if it's top Nurse, then you know you will lose. Okay, you can grab the best team in the world, and you can all have the fattest toolboxes, you know, all of you, and you know all the perks that help you, and you will still lose at the end because Nurse is really overpowered. Okay, so she is the only killer like this. Blight even Blight isn't really that strong. So yeah, Blight. Okay, let's talk about Blight because I already talked about him. So might as well just rank him. I would say probably. I would probably put him in high A tier. Barely, barely a high A tier. Even I would say even kind of. I guess I could put him in mid A tier, but I've played against really good Blights, okay? I've played against really good Blights, so I'm not sure if mid A tier is fair. I would say he's probably closer to high A tier. So yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I would put Blight at high tier because he hits you, and then he doesn't have to use his speed right away. He doesn't have to use his power right away, right? Because he can just hit you, and then he will use his power and close the distance really fast. Okay, he is very similar to Wesker in that respect. Okay, Blight is really similar to Wesker. Because Wesker, the same problem. I have the same problem with Wesker. When you drop a pellet, okay. When you drop a pellet and he breaks it, even if he is stunned, he will close the distance between you and him really fast. Okay, that's why Wesker is so strong. Okay, it's the same thing with Blight. Blight is really fast. But unlike Wesker, because Wesker, it really makes more sense if Wesker uses his power during a chase, right? Blight, on the other hand, doesn't have to do it. Blight can be effective even on large maps because, he can just close the distance really fast, okay? He's the fastest killer in the game, not including killers that can teleport. So if you cannot teleport, barring teleporting killers, Blight is the best killer in terms of generator pressure because, again, he can cover distance really fast. He can zoom in across the entire map. Okay, even huge maps. I forgot names, but there are really huge maps out there. So if it's small map, it's even worse. So Blight is really dangerous. His power comes back really fast as well. His power comes back really fast. So even if you lose him, he will be on your ass again. So. Yeah, Blight can do. Also, another thing I don't like about Blight is when you made a turn, right? And you would think he should not be able to, flick. He should not be able to flick like that. Yet he can still do it. He can do 180 flick. Blight can actually get to you even when you already reached. When you already reached around the corner, right? So and he still gets you. That is another thing that kind of unfair. I don't know if it's intended that way. I mean, I think that is intended, but it is also pretty powerful. So Pro Blight is really dangerous, and I would say yes, high A tier, but barely. Okay, I would put him barely because there are some killers I struggle more. I struggle with more. Specifically, I struggle against Huntress. Huntress is also high A tier. Okay, I know a lot of people say Huntress is weak. Yeah, a lot of people say Huntress is weak. I basically, people who say it, basically they prove that they never played against a good Huntress. Okay, I've played against. I'm not even joking. I've played against pro Huntresses, and they can snipe you across. Like I don't know, across 60 meters. Okay, something crazy like that. They can predict. They can sometimes snipe you from the most unexpected angles, or openings. Some maps, for example, Killer Shack has openings in them, so hunters can actually snipe you through the wall, right? Because there are some, again, small openings, and good hunters can do it. Huntress is a very strong killer. The thing I don't like about her is that when I play against pro hunters, is that when she is far away from you, you can pre-drop pellet, and it's basically the only tactic you can use against her. Okay, or not tactic, it's the only strategy in the long run. In the long run, it's the only strategy you can use against Huntress, because if you're too close to Huntress, okay, or if she is too close to you, before you are going to drop a pellet, she can throw a hatchet at you and reduce one health state. The problem is you can fake it, but Huntress might predict that as well. Okay, so she might not even stop and just hit you normally, because again, maybe she predicted that you will try to fake it. So basically, and if you drop pellet, you will get hit, because again, she might predict it, or I don't know, just somehow she guessed it. She guessed right. I don't know. I mean, it happened a lot. Or if it's not really a small loop, you can fake that you are going to pre-drop a pellet, and then keep looping her. Then she runs after you, and before you can do a full loop back to the pellet that you were standing, you were standing near that pellet, right? And you will loop back to the same pellet. If it's not a small loop, and Huntress guesses right, she can just keep running after you and still hit you. Okay, so even if she stopped and was about to throw a hatchet, she can just cancel hatchet throwing and keep running after you and hit you. So Huntress is really strong. And unlike Trickster, because I know some people say Trickster is stronger than Huntress, which, again, people who say it have no idea what they are talking about. Okay, Huntress needs one hatchet to reduce one of your health states, which is insane. Okay, and the thing is, pro Huntress usually throws hatchet at you, even from close distance or medium distance. You know why? Because she has a smaller cooldown before throwing hatchets. As opposed to attacking someone normally, right? Melee. When you melee attack someone, killer gets a pretty big cooldown. So, but when you use hatchets, cooldown is smaller. So you can throw a hatchet, and survivor creates huge distance. Runs very fast, but cooldown is small. So you can just throw hatchet. You can predict that he will try to dodge. For example, he will try to dodge, and then you throw hatchet, and it's unreactable. When she throws hatchet at full force, hatchet becomes unreactable. So you just cannot react to it, and she will hit you if she is good at the game. She will hit you if you have no cover, like tall walls, or something. If you have none of these things, she will hit you because again, she is a very strong killer, and she is very underrated because most people suck at playing her, and also because they never played against top hunters. It's really that simple. But I've played against most of these killers at the highest level, so I can tell you what they're truly capable of. Huntress is high A tier, and sometimes, admittedly, Huntress gets players because they make mistakes. Okay, it's different from, say, Deathslinger. Deathslinger, I would say, I'm not sure. Deathslinger is either mid A tier or high A tier. Deathslinger is also very strong killer. Again, people don't understand. So many people say he's weak killer. I just don't understand why they say it. I mean, I understand why they say it because they are not as good at the game as I am. So, because they never played against those killers, right? So they say, well, he's weak. But you really can't claim it because you've never played against a good Deathslinger. Deathslinger, unlike Huntress, in some situations, unlike Huntress, Deathslinger can basically his attack is unreactable. Deathslinger's attack is unreactable, much like Huntress hatchets. But there is a difference. Sometimes Huntress gets you because you make a mistake. With Deathslinger, it's different. If Deathslinger fails to hit you, then that's on him, not on you. Okay, that's on him. It's his skill level that denied him, another hit, right? Unlike Huntress, because Huntress capitalizes on survivors making mistakes. Even she is a very strong killer, and we are all human beings and we make mistakes. So obviously, sometimes we make mistakes, and Huntress gets us. But Deathslinger is different. If he is perfect, then it's up to his skill. It's only up to his skill, not on survivors. That's the biggest difference between the two, I think. If I'm not mistaken, he moves at normal killer speeds, but I might be wrong. He might move at the same speed as projectile throwing killers, but I don't remember. Basically, Huntress is slow, which is a good thing. She is slow. Her terror radius, or not terror radius, her humming can be heard, from far away, which is a good thing because again, she is a very strong killer. Deathslinger is different because his terror radius is very small, so he can literally, especially with add-ons, but we are not talking about add-ons here. Deathslinger can get close to you before you can even hear him, because again, his terror radius is very small, unlike Huntress. Even though he is kind of similar to Huntress, but in a different way. I think I will put Deathslinger at high A tier as well, but kind of, I guess, kind of similar to Blight, you know. He's kind of similar to Blight, where Blight is almost high tier, but I decided to put him at that level, so I will put Deathslinger at similar level. Because I have a feeling that Huntress is more powerful, and to be fair, I struggle against Huntress more than I struggle against Deathslinger. But Deathslinger is very powerful because again, it's up to his skill. Okay, his attack is unreactable. You cannot do anything about it. So it's up to his skill to get you. His attack has, I think, his hitbox for his spear. When he shoots you, he shoots spear at you. Attack for his spear doesn't have a huge hitbox. So, for example, which means he can get you from even small openings. Even smaller openings than Huntress. So, because Huntress hatchets have pretty big hitbox. So, which is a good thing. For example, when she needs just enough, width. When she needs just enough width to get you. Okay, when you are already near, near the, when you went around the corner, right? Almost around the corner, and she throws a hatchet at you. And sometimes her hitbox lets her hit you, even though it doesn't look like she should be able to, but she can still do it. Unlike Deathslinger, Deathslinger has to hit you precisely, okay? Because again, he is he's very skill dependent killer, even more so than Huntress, I think. But Huntress is more effective, if you ask me. I think Huntress is more effective than Deathslinger because if you pre-drop a pellet against Deathslinger, he cannot get you most of the time. Okay, so he kind of, good Deathslinger tries to play around the pellet, right? But it's not always possible. Unlike Huntress, because with Huntress you always have to guess if she will throw a hatchet at you, or she will fake it, or maybe she will just ignore it completely and just hit you, right? So Deathslinger is different because you can just really pre-drop pellet right in his face, and even if he gets you with his spear, there is no guarantee that he will be able to, to drop you, right? So in that respect, I would say Huntress is still more powerful, okay? But Deathslinger is definitely high A tier. I struggle against Deathslinger a lot. You have to run forward to see where where all pellets are, where all objects are. You have to look where you run to, and you also have to look behind you at the same time, right? Because to create line of sight blockers, you need to block line of sight when you play against Deathslinger, and it can be really frustrating and really hard to look behind you and look forward and just keep doing it, all the time, and also think about, at the same time, also think about how you are going to play it, how are you going to loop him, when he gets near you and all that stuff. So he is a very strong killer, and people don't understand Deathslinger. He is a very strong killer. Okay. Let's talk about Hag, okay? Because I don't know where to put her. I just don't. I've played against really good Hags. Even I remember once I've played against Hag with extreme reaction time. I've played against Hag with really good reaction time. It was ridiculous. that Hag was ridiculous. Her reaction time was, it was ridiculous, almost instantly. Okay, so whenever you activate her trap, she teleports almost instantly towards you, okay? And she hits you immediately. It's the only time I've played against Hack of that level. But at the same time, I don't think Hack is really that strong, because she relies on survivors making mistakes, right? Because at the end of the day, it's up to survivors to use their eyes, and not trigger her traps. So I'm not sure where to, like, Hack is one of those killers. I'm not sure where to put her, because I think every time my team lost, randoms. I've played with randoms all the time, so every time my team loses, I think it's because we misplayed. Okay, I don't think it's because of Hack. I don't think it's because Hack is strong. I think it's because we misplayed. It's our mistake. Admittedly, sometimes Hack can be strong. Okay, so because she can prevent you from looping, right? Because she'll, you will get hit. Sometimes you will get hit, but I don't know. I don't know. I will just say, question mark. Yeah, I will just say, well, it's a question mark, because I just don't know where to put her. Because as I said, I don't think it's up to her. I think it's up to survivors to, not make mistakes. And I think I really think Hack is overrated, and she relies on survivors being either blind or dumb, okay, or maybe sometimes both. So if you're not a bad player, I think you shouldn't get beaten by Hack. Again, I've played only against one top Hack, and even then I think it's because we made mistakes, because I know we made we weren't playing perfectly, so it was our mistake mostly, I think. But yeah, I will come back later.